It drove our offense. It got our offense going,
and the crowd was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come and buy your ticket and come in and you can not make a difference, but man, everybody. It was just from when we walked. We did that little walk we do at 30 minutes. They erupted into it, and I was like, told them in the locker room. I said, "Can you imagine what they're going to do if you go out and play really hard for them? If they're going to clap for you when you just take a walk?" Our group our fans have just been unbelievably supportive, even though some of them can't always attend. It's hard to attend 20 home games a year. I know that. But the fact that we need them here in the end to make a difference, to get that home game on Thursday night. But they made the difference on that last stop the other night, gave us a lot of energy on that stop, and then they just absolutely carried momentum, propel us into an unbelievable, no way you could have ever seen that coming against UAB performance.
Alexis, you made 2 threes in a row. Would the second one come under the definition of heat check?
Heat check. Heat check.
I told her, I drew a play up and said, if you don't shoot it, you're coming out on the third play. So
yeah.
She's got that in her. She's been doing it in practice ever since. She did it in Italy, and we're finishing it out. This is what – and it's what we look like when now you do that. Okay, you want to double team Chelsea or you want to flood the lane when she drives it? And that's what they were doing. Their game plan was anytime she caught the ball to bounce it, she had 10 eyes on her. And the person plus everybody else's feet in the paint. And I thought she was so patient and let the game come to her and didn't do what so many other people who score normally would do and force a bunch of shots. She let it come. She got everybody involved, and everybody was ready to respond when that happened.
That said, though, to have a half like that with Chelsea scoring 3 points, I mean, could you ever envision?
No, I don't think, not really.
Never.
I mean, honestly, just
not lately.
Not lately. Yeah,
not lately.
You're right. Not lately. I can tell you this: I'm done putting limits on this group. I'm done because they amaze me every time. Like I said the other day, I said in Greenville, I don't think we can play any better than we played, and we've done it back-to-back games. That's the best we've played, even in practice. Except we had a 102-99 inter-squad game that looked like that.
Yeah.
What was that, Tuesday?
Tuesday
before,
yeah.
Before Houston.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Y'all remember hearing about the Dream Team when they had those inter-squad games on the Olympic team? That inter-squad game was unbelievable, and I think it's very rare for a team to want to still be playing after spring break. I don't think I've ever been.
Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Monday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio as we come to you on KDSJ 479 Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. We were out last Friday, so we were unable. We didn't have an A, but there was a lot that took place over the weekend. Arkansas's baseball team won a 2-1 series over the Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa over the weekend, taking the rubber match 10-2. To win that series 2-1. Also, 2 Arkansas women were unfortunate and unable to win their series as they dropped their rubber match with the Tennessee Vols in Knoxville 5-2 in their deciding series game. Also, 2 Arkansas men basketball fastest 40 were upended, and season came to an end as they were 63-60 losers in Bloomington to the Indiana Hoosiers in a very, very competitive ball game. Came down to the last shot. And that's going to set it up as we're going to have on a big show today. We've got Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette come on, and we're going to recap this fastest 40 season and kind of look ahead to the future. Who are some of the guys, in his opinion, that he expects to be even more impressive heading into their sophomore and junior campaigns. And then at 1:30, talking a little recruiting and also more recap of this Fastest 40 with Kevin McPherson of AR Hoop Scoop and Hogville.net. We're going to recap Kevin and get his take as well about the future of the Fastest 40. But we're also going to have audio throughout the show from Isaiah Joe and Desi Seals. Also, too, we're here from Coach Mike Anderson on his outlook and what he's really looking forward to, and his take on this team, and also to much highlights. We'll show you highlights of the women's WNIT 100-52 victory over the UAB Blazers, and also to season highlights during our breaks of Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones. All that's to come. But I want to kick it over to my co-host and producer, demigod, I call him my home guy, Demetrius. What's up, my man?
What's happening?
Big weekend. You did some major moves, but we'll keep those in disclosure. But just say you made some major moves, didn't you?
I had a good weekend. I had a real good weekend.
Well,
I had a real good weekend.
In the future, people will see just how good it is, I bet you.
Yeah, we got some surprises on the hill coming football season, so we got little things in the work.
Arkansas, 63-60 losers to the hands of the Indiana Hoosiers. Were you impressed? This game came down to the last shot. Arkansas, even to take it a step further, had a chance to tie the ball game up with just a little over a minute in the ball game. Without Daniel Gafford and the way that this team was able to handle the adversity, being on the road at Providence and then heading into a hostile environment. 17,000 attended that game on Saturday, by the way. What's your take for the future going forward, Demetrius?
I've always felt, especially towards the beginning of the season, that these group of guys really exceeded everyone's expectations. I think guys didn't even have these guys winning over 20 games. What they went 19?
Right. They won 18 and 16.
18. So to me, these guys really exceeded the expectation for the youth that's on the team. I think guys had in their minds that they would go, potentially to the NCAA tournament. But I'm one of those realistic people,
right?
Especially when we're dealing with sports, because it's so advanced now. And you were mentioning how important, social media is. So I think this group of guys exceeded and learned a lot. In the time without Daniel Gafford, you're really going to see how that helped going into next year, because you see you do have superstar potential, in Isaiah Joe, Desi Seals. I think those are guys that if Mike Anderson puts the right pieces around, it could be something special.
I mean, you think about it, guys. You have three young men ending the season in Desi, Isaiah, and Mason that all shot close to 40% from the three-point line. Jalen Harris, one of the top assist-to-turnover guards in all the SEC. You'll bring back a very seasoned Gabe Osaboin that's played a lot of basketball. Needs to improve on a few things, but for the most part defensively, I think he's one of the better defenders on this team. Also, too, Reggie Chaney is a young man that I'm really looking forward to in his growth from freshman to sophomore. I think Reggie has the potential, and I've always felt this way, to be a two-time All-SEC basketball player. I think if Arkansas can go out and recruit the type of pieces that'll be needed here at the University of Arkansas, because let's make no bones about it, Demetrius, this team's going to have to be, they're so young, they're going to have to be surrounded with some older guys that's going to bring, I'm not saying this team isn't tough, but they have to have that old man's toughness, if you understand what I'm saying. But we're going to step away real quick. And next up, Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. But first, we caught up with freshman guard Desi Seals and freshman guard Isaiah Joe. And here's what they had to say following their 63-60 loss to the Indiana Hoosiers.
We talked about coming in and have an opportunity to participate in this tournament. We're in it to win it, and kind of ran out of time. Indiana, they did what they supposed to do here at home. They took advantage of the home court, made some free throws going down the stretch. We missed some free throws, had a couple of layups there at the end. And when you play a road game, you got to be able to make plays to keep yourself in position, and we were right there. I thought the game went back and forth, and they got a little cushion there. We had a little cushion early on. but it went over to the final horn. So just proud of the effort of our guys. I thought they fought. We matched their physicality. I thought inside made Morgan and Duran work for everything. And I thought the guys that made a big difference in the game was the Green kid. I thought he had some clutch baskets for him. Well, it seemed like, I talk about a team going on runs. It seemed like the games were a game of streaks, it seemed like. And we were in most every game we played this year. So we'll use that going through that. The inexperienced Carter was now. Hopefully we can gain some experience so we can win those kind of games. We've been in enough of them. But I was proud of, like I said, our guys. They held up poise, even going down the stretch in this game. And with all the things that have taken place, you lose your best player. I mean, a guy that went for 29 and 12 against these guys, and now you got to do it with other guys. But I was proud of you. Think about Isaiah. You think about Desi. I thought all those guys. I thought Gabe gave us everything they had. They gave me everything they had.
Mike, it was a tough shot, obviously, for Jalen, but he got it up. He got it off the backboard.
No, I thought it was good. I thought he had a chance. I thought he had a chance.
Is that kind of just heart sinks and you realize,
Well, it's more so for the guys. I thought they played hard enough, and at times I thought they played well enough to win. And coming in, I thought we had a great chance of putting it off. But you got to be able to make plays. Like I said, free throws, loose balls going down the stretch. We had a couple of layups that we missed right point blank. You get that in one, it just changes the whole complexity of the game. But give Indiana credit. I thought those guys, they rose to the occasion and made some plays for them. Green even knocking down those free throws. He was the guy that had it going on, whether it be attacking the basket, making passes, or stepping up, knocking shots down. I thought he played his heart out. He was trying to take charges. Even I think his last foul was trying to take a charge. As I said, these guys have learned a lot of things, and it was, he was the guy that had it going on for us. But we got more.
Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live each and every day here on KDSJ 479. And as always, Arkansas traveled to Bloomington, Indiana, and was unfortunately came to a loss of 63-60. And we wanted to wrap it up talking fastest 40. And what way can we do it than how we've been doing it? With our buddy Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Scotty, welcome back to OTH, my man.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed the new intro.
Look at you. Also, Scotty, too, congratulations, as I know you're the new owner, you and your wife, of a home, so I wanted to give you a big shout out. I know that's a big moment.
Thank you.
In you guys' life.
Thank you. Yeah, we just we closed on the house we were living in. Found a new house last week. We're going to be moving in there in about a month, so we're pretty pumped.
On to basketball. March Madness. Arkansas, unfortunately, didn't make the NCAA, but did, quite well. Was able to go to Providence, knock them off in round one. Round two, not so much, as they dropped it 62-60. What were your takes, Scotty, when you sat and evaluated that ball game Saturday?
Yeah, I think just at the end, one of the things that kind of plagued this team all year was that they just, they were, I don't know, like they were pretty good defensively for a vast majority of the year. But the thing that kind of held this team back was that they would go through dry spells offensively, whether it was 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And I think there was even like a 9-minute stretch, maybe against Texas State, where they didn't score. And the last few minutes of the game, I think it was the last 6:58 of the game on Saturday, they didn't hit a shot. And no offense to Jalen Harris and Adriel Bailey, but those are the guys that you probably you would rather them not take the shots that are when your season's on the line, you probably don't want them taking your shots. And they missed 4 of the last 5 shots. And one of the shots that Adriel missed was right at the rim. And it's just kind of some of these recurring themes that we saw all throughout the year. They just kind of reared their head really in the last 6 minutes of the season. They didn't defend Indiana's best 3-point shooter very well at all. I think Devontae Green was shooting 59% from 3 the last 5 games going into that one, and they just let him go for 4 threes too. And you didn't see an interior offensive presence. You got outscored 30-10 in the paint, and Juwan Morgan and Deron Davis kind of had their way inside. And so that really scored 10 plus points in 4 of the last 8 games, and I think he shot 7 of 11 from 3 in postseason play. So that's pretty promising too. I think if he learns to stay a little bit more under control when he's got the ball in his hands, I think he's going to be a great player, like a Corey Beck type guy, like you mentioned. And Mason Jones is so crafty, and I mean, if he can get over kind of the mental hurdles that he runs up against, he's going to be fine. Isaiah, he ended up tying Jamal Murray's SEC single season freshman record for 3-pointers made. So that's another positive. I think if you keep a lot of these guys together, and you add some pieces, TJ was out recruiting early last week. If you add some of the guys that they're going after there, and you get a pretty big off season from some of these guys, I mean, you got a chance to be pretty good. Mike, the other day on his radio interview after the game, he sounded like he was pretty optimistic. He said they're going to attack the off season and get ready to take it up another notch. I think they got to take it up more than maybe one notch to maybe satisfy some of the want for success with the fan base. But they keep those guys together, I think they'll be okay.
How important will Reggie Chaney's offseason development be for this team going forward in that 2019-2020 season, in your opinion? Because, Scotty, I think it's immensely important that he really does have a great offseason. I think he's going to be a real centerpiece to this program for Coach A going forward. What say you on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Me and you have long been on kind of the Reggie Chaney train, I guess. We were wanting Reggie to play alongside Dan a lot more this year when Dan was on the team, and we didn't really see that as much as maybe we would have liked to see if they could maximize their potential together. But Reggie's the guy in that forward group that he's not reached that ceiling yet. And I think, I don't know, I hate to say that the other guys have, but I mean, Reggie's potential is it's so much higher, I think, than some of those other guys. And I think he's got to have a good summer, develop that mid-range jumper a little bit, also develop like a pump fake, shot fake, put the ball on the floor, 1 or 2 dribbles, get to the rim.
Great point.
And if he can, they ran some stuff for him at Providence and he finished pretty well. But I think he's got to grow more comfortable maybe as a back to the basket guy. We saw this year they like to put guys their back to the basket, so they might have him do that a little bit. But it's a big off season for him. He can be kind of a cornerstone. Maybe the next year or two if the rumors flying. But if he stays around and all that, I think he's going to be a staple for them the next couple of years.
Now, Scotty, I heard you mention Desi. What's your take on Isaiah Joe? Because I feel like if Isaiah Joe can add a dribble drive to his package, he'll be a dangerous player as well as Desi.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think I can't remember what game it was, but my boss texted me and said that Sean Farnham or one of the ESPN guys said that I think it was a little bit over 80% of Isaiah's 3-pointers this year were just catch and shoot. So he was a little bit limited in how he got his shots up, like catching pump fake in a dribble or shot fake and dribble 2 times into a mid range. We didn't see a ton of that. We saw it more, I think, as the year went on. I think especially as I think you saw it some in the postseason and maybe the last couple of weeks of the regular season. He's got to add some strength. That's obviously like if you can get by your guy and maybe use that left arm to get a little bit of separation, that's going to be a big thing. I'm finishing up his shot chart for this season. I'm going to be really curious to see how he did around in that mid-range area. So I think that could be a consistent spot for him, because guys are just going to run him off the line. So I think keeping that shot fake in his bag, and then being able to maybe get to the rim too. All that just goes with some added strength. He's got a big offseason ahead of him too. He's got to get stronger, got to work a little bit more on that middle game and maybe attacking the rim.
Talking with Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, covers Arkansas for us here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. Scotty, real quick, got about a minute left. What's the win total if most of these cornerstone pieces, the Isaiahs, and pretty much the entire team comes back? They add a few at the right areas of need. Get a little older, like Coach Anderson has talked about. What's your way too early 2019-2020 win total for this team? And can this team make the NCAA tournament next year?
Yeah, that's a good question. This team, they got to 18 playing 3 games in the postseason. If this team won even just 2 or 3 of the games that it lost, really tight games, that probably, you're probably looking at a different outlook on this season, and you're probably projecting something. Games in the regular season next year. I don't know what the non-conference schedule looks like early next season, but it'll probably be pretty manageable. The SEC schedule, just all those guys have a little bit of experience coming back, and it's just going to be meshing the new guys in. So I figure they could probably win 18 or 19 in the regular season, and then go to the SEC tournament, win a couple games, perhaps. That puts you at 21 or 22 wins, and at that point you're looking pretty good. So I'll probably go with somewhere between 18 19. That would probably be my guess for regular season anyway.
All right, well, man, love the insight. We'll catch up as they get back at it on the football field for the conclusion of or the connection of spring football. But as always, my man, thanks for taking time out on the Hill, Scotty.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
That was Scotty Borderland of the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Always on point when it comes to the fastest 40 and cover, and Mike Anderson and that basketball program. Does an absolute great job. I think you can find him on Twitter at NWA Scotty. You can follow him on Twitter. I also follow him online, KNWA online, or wholehogsports.com if you want to follow Scotty's articles. I advise you, catch what the guy writes. It's on point if you want to know the ins and the outs about what's going on the Hill. But we're going to step away and get a real quick audio. I want to apologize. The audio that I had set up prior to Scotty's interview was totally wrong. We had Coach A queued up, and so we're going to commence with what I said and bring you with what I said finally. Freshman guard and freshman shooting guard Isaiah Joe and Desi Seals. And then we'll come back with Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and Hogville.net to talk fast, even more fastest 40. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit.
We learned a lot from it. We came up short, like Zay says, to learn experience. We come back in off season or to get better, each and one of us, and try to do what we can for next year. I just try to be in the right position for my team, and to try to get the charge so we can get the ball back on the offense. But obviously they got the home court advantage, but I did what I can, and I try to be on the bench and try to cheer my teammates to the win.
Do you feel like you can make a difference?
I trust my teammates. I can make a difference, but they can make a difference too. So yeah.
The finality of the season. How does it set in?
Say that again.
The finality of the season.
Yeah, our season ended shorter than what we wanted it to, but we can't take that back. We can't go back in the past and change the game, so we just got to move on from here. Like I said earlier, we just got to go into the offseason with our heads held high, work hard, get better individually, and grow as a team, grow in chemistry, and then if we do that, I think we'll see great things to come in the future.
I mean, this game just like the NCAA tournament. You know, it's like NIT. We playing for a championship just like the NCAA. So we try to do everything we can.
Was this a tough way you had to go on the road twice? And Indiana got 2 home games?
I mean, it's tough, but at the end of the day, we still got to show up and play.
I think a lot of people thought you guys didn't have a shot without Daniel, and you obviously played great on Providence. You played really well in very tough situations. How well do you feel like you guys rose to that challenge?
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live each and every day here on KDSJ, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And real quick, before we get to our next guest, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, pay a few bills as we like to do, Demetrius. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to our sponsor of Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall, and our newest sponsor, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And on to our next guest to get back in the topic of Arkansas in the fastest 40. They were eliminated 63-60 this past Saturday to the hands of the Indiana Hoosiers in the NIT. And we want to bring on and talk, like I said, even more with our good buddy of AR Hoop Scoop and Hogfield.net, Kevin McPherson. KP, welcome back to the Hill.
Hey, Pat, good to be with you, my friend.
Get off into this. Arkansas concluded their season, dropping a close game. Had a lot of opportunities throughout that game, led multiple times, and it just seemed like a back-and-forth game. Kevin, what were some of your takes when that game had wrapped up and you had a few hours to put it all into perspective?
Yeah, you know what? I think the NIT was a great experience for this team, and when you obviously they would have liked to finish with Dan Gafford, but at the same time, he had business to take care of, and I think this was a good chance for them to get a taste of life without him.
When you
Pat, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Absolutely.
Okay, I thought we got cut off there. No, I was just going to say, it gave them a chance to see what they can be without Daniel Gafford. That's obviously the big centerpiece of the team. Even when it didn't work, the game plan was to really get him the ball and play through him, and they couldn't do that. So they had to figure out other ways to compete. And you go on the road to Providence on basically 48 hours turnaround from getting, not only picked to the NIT, but finding out that Gafford's not going to be with you. And the show that they put on out there, they grabbed a double-digit lead early and never let go of it. They controlled that game, and everybody was involved. We got to see Ethan Henderson come off the bench. We got to see what Reggie Chaney can do. Then you turn around and play Indiana, a good team on the road, another road game, and had a chance. And we've seen it so many times this year, just can't cross that finish line. But I thought they showed well, missing the biggest piece of the team in those two games. It's a small sample size, but they're going to have a full off season to get better and add some pieces in the spring signing period. But I think it can be a team. They've got the pieces. If guys don't transfer, if the core guys don't transfer, I'm talking like a Reggie Chaney or Isaiah Joe or Mason Jones, Desi Seal, some of these core guys, they keep it together and add some pieces. I think it can be back to the NCAA tournament this time next year.
Talking about maturity, when you look at this team, also take a step into this year's NCAA tournament. And it seems to me, Kevin, it's all about mature guards. You look at all these Sweet 16 teams, they have that one common denominator, the maturity. And you can't base, there's no substitute for experience. Arkansas coming back, you have Mason, you have Isaiah, you have Jalen, and you have Desi. Three of those guys shot close to 40% from the three-point line. If they can improve just slightly, who down in the block do you think, with those core like the Reggies and those guys, who has to make the biggest jump for this team to, like you said, get into the NCAA tournament? Because I think this team also, too, should be expected to get in based on the experience factor they have coming back.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer you're as good as your guards are good. Now, you've got to have good bigs, but I think the guard play is key. I think this collection of guards, it was brand-new backcourt. None of these guys had ever played in a Hog uniform, and I thought there were so many positives there, and I think it starts with Jalen Harris. I think he's got to improve that at perimeter shot. He's one of the best in the SEC in assist-to-turnover ratio.
Right.
He does some really good things, but, man, the lack of being able to knock down an open three really set the table for defenses to scheme and sag down on Gafford and leave him open and challenge him and dare him to shoot. And when you have a 4 spot that's not hitting shots, it really you're playing 3-on-5 on the offensive end. So to me, it starts with Jalen Harris improving that 3-point shot. I think a guy like Reggie Chaney needs to work on his footwork. We saw him with happy feet and sometimes his footwork around the basket, but he's so quick, and he's really got great instincts. He gets a lot of deflections, attacks the basket. We saw him fly in and get some putback dunks and tip-ins, and just a guy, I love how active he is. A guy that I think down the road, Pat, junior, senior seasons, a friend's all SEC, if not, so probably second team type of guy. We saw Qualls make himself into that by his junior year. But that's what I'm saying. I think there's guys that can raise the bar as early as next year. We see what Isaiah Joe is. We see what Desi Sills became once he joined that starting lineup. These guys are only going to get better. I think all of these guys together, and Ethan Henderson's got to get stronger. I think he can help this team.
Right.
I think Gabe Osaboyne can continue to improve and help this team just a defender and a guy that's going to pass on the offensive end and really be selective about the shots he takes. But I think all these guys will get better, and Arkansas will be better as a result.
In your opinion, when you look at this team, it being the if not the youngest, one of the top 2 or 3 youngest teams in all of college basketball, where does this team have to improve at the most to get themselves back into the NCAA tournament? You look at this, Kevin, 12 one-possession games that they were in. You win half of those, and you're easily an NCAA tournament team with a lot. Daniel is just finishing up. But where, in your opinion, in your honest opinion, do you think they have to improve at the most? And if it's more than one, feel free to give us your take.
Yeah, this is going to sound. This is a simple answer. If this wasn't the worst free throw shooting team in the SEC, they're probably in the NCAA tournament. They're going to get better at the free throw line first and foremost. Hey, you can work on all parts of your game, but some things you're not going to be able to overcome. I'm a firm believer if you really want to get better at the free throw line, just about anybody can do that. They've got to do that. I think it starts there, and I know that sounds like just an easy answer to give, but I think if you just get better there, everybody improves there. There's so many close games because the SEC is so competitive. Right. And sometimes it's really about the team that steps up and makes free throws versus the team that can't. We saw it against Indiana. Arkansas was 3 of 6 down the stretch. They had chances just at the free throw line to tie that game or even take a lead, and they just couldn't do it. So that's where it is, Pat.
Recruiting-wise, I know they're out on the recruiting trail. Mike talked about, he had a good core. They become a team, and he also talked about, bringing in a few pieces. What's the latest on the Fastest 40 as far as bringing in guys? Mike wants to get older. Who are some names and some visits maybe coming up that the fans may need to know about?
Well, Sean Stiff, a 6'8" JUCO out of California, he'll be on campus this weekend, March 29th and 31st. Official visit, coming with family. He's got an Arkansas offer, so if Arkansas wants him, I think he'll commit, if not on his visit, shortly after. So if Arkansas, gets to the point where they're like, yes, this is a guy we want, I think they'll get him. I know Oklahoma State's inquired, but I think all of his other offers are West Coast, mid-major schools. So if he, the fact that he's willing to come here with family, and I think it's a situation where we could be seeing Sean Stiff being maybe one of the first guys on the board for them in the spring.
Right.
I know they're looking at some senior grad transfers as well. They definitely want to get older. Sean Stiff is a step in that direction. He'll be a junior. He's a JUCO. But a couple of senior grad transfer bigs I know that they're looking at. One of those guys is Jalone Friday out of Abilene Christian, 6'9", 6'10", averaging over 13 a game, scoring and 5.5 rebounds, I think. But a guy that I know that Arkansas likes and has some interest in. There's a couple more. I can't name them right now because they're not in the portal. Won't talk about them until they are. But they're definitely, the JUCO wings that T.J. Cleveland watched last week, and Javion Hamlet, the combo guard for Northwest Florida State, and that was the top seed. He can play, and look, his shooting numbers back it up, man. He's efficient from 2, from 3 in the free throw line. He's really good.
And here's a little
there
caveat,
are some
Kevin.
good players.
Here's a little caveat. His dad happens to be from the city of West Memphis, so there's an Arkansas tie with Javion.
That's right. And he started out at Motlow State where Barford's played, and they're buddies. That Barford on Twitter, those guys tagging each other back and forth on Twitter. Barford's pushing him to Arkansas, so we'll see what shakes out. I mean, I think they'll get at least 3 guys, maybe 4, And if we see transfers that we don't expect, there'll be maybe more than that.
Right. Is this team in your last question I have, and I want everybody to know we're talking with Kevin McPherson of AR Hoop Scoop and Hogville.net, covers Arkansas Fastest 40 and covers recruiting for us when it's Fastest 40 related here on OTH. But in your opinion, I have a two-part question. Does this team make the tournament? And second to that question, who's your most improved player for next season?
Okay, two things. If they keep everybody they got, the core guys that we've been talking about, and they just add a few of these pieces, yes, they're back. They're going to win. I think they'll win at least 20 games and be back in the dance. And I say that knowing full well the SEC is a strong basketball conference now. So, yes, that's the answer to that. Most improved guy, I'm going to say we're going to be a toss-up between Chaney and Henderson. I think Chaney's going to show – it's going to look like improvement because he's going to get a real chance to be the guy inside with Gafford out. And I think we're going to see Ethan Henderson get stronger and be a guy that really can contribute for that team at some point. It may not be right away, but by conference time, we may see an Ethan Henderson surprise us.
Well, as always, my man, love the info. You know, we'll continue to talk as recruiting just starts to heat up as they're finding more people for the Fastest 40 in the future. But as always, Kevin, thanks for taking time out on the Hill, my brother.
Good to be with you, Pat. Thank you.
All right. That was Kevin McPherson of AR Hoop Scoop and Hogville.net talking Fastest 40 and recruiting with us here on the Hill. But we want to give you a video and show you highlights from yesterday's women's WNIT big time win that they had over the UAB Blazers in Bud Walton. Make a note, Arkansas will host the TCU Lady Horned Frogs this Thursday night in round 3 of the WNIT. Come out. The more seats, the more ball games. And I'm telling you, this is a fun team to watch. But we're going to let you see audio from yesterday's UAB and the Arkansas women basketball. And then we'll come back and wrap this thing up. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479.
Transition, Toll-free, shaking and baking down the lane, feeds it out, Mason for 3, got it! Excellent first defense. Illinois brings it up the floor. She's the team's leading. This is Childress now. She is the team's leading scorer. Turned over by Monk. UAB coming in with a record of 26-6 on the season. They finished second in Conference USA. As Kuzmanik drives and Rachel Childress, she does drive and scoring, looking for a slicing Vendrell and couldn't find her. Does find her rather, and she turns around and lays it up.
Nice pass off the pick and roll, and nice turnaround shot by Vendrell.
Monk down the lane, short. Rebound to Monk, throws it up and got it to go. Monk's got 4 points.
Nice find by Barnes in early transition.
Inside of 6 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. Toll-free attack 3, drained it. Replacing Angela.